Wow, we got nothing done on episode 1. But it's been a busy week, so I'm going to go get ready. Cue the montage.
Rhubarb and a bag of sugar down the old allotment road. Dad's weathered hands did toil. The days were long but oh so slow. He'd hum a tune of yesteryears. Sky is neither black nor blue. Memories grow in furrowed rows of sorrow and a few. Rusty tin and wooden beams, a shack that saw no prime. In each planter's lonely dreams, whispered tales of borrowed time. Earth and sweat, a solemn blend. There beneath the sheeting rain, seasons marked a gentle end. Fields of joy and hints of pain. Rhubarb sweet with bitter note, sugar rained in broken lines. Echoes of my father's coat linger round the crooked vines. Heavy hearts and lighter days, all but written in alone. Faded song that softly plays. Those fields felt like home. Sunset bent on crooked knees as shadows claim the bed. Wind would tell forgotten pleas, speak the words that went unsaid. Harvest moon would light the pale firmament of tales untold. Each stalk whispered secret trails of weary hands grown old. Years now pass, yet here I stand within the garden's arms once more, tracing each and every strand in search of what we had before. Silence sings a faded lore neath the twilight's solemn glow, seeking in the earthen floor echoes of what I used to know. Rhubarb sweet with bitter note, sugar rained in broken lines. Echoes of my father's coat linger round the crooked vines. Heavy hearts and lighter days, all but written in the loam. Faded song that softly plays. Those fields felt like
Chilly this morning. It was supposed to be like 15 degrees, but it isn't. But there you go. So yeah, we got a lot done over the past few days. My lad was helping out, so we managed to make something of what was being termed as grass hill. So last year this was maybe 3-4 foot high in grass and weeds and all sorts of things. So it wasn't really a space that we could do very much with. The sort of still slightly grown over area, overgrown area at the back, that's where the fireweed was growing, and it was bleeding into this area. So to make use of that space, we decided to go with a tiered growing area. Now there's a couple of things with this which I think is going to be useful. So the first thing is we're making use of space, which is always good. And secondly, because and I mentioned it on the first episode about the winds. The wind tends to come in this direction. So my thinking is that actually this will provide us with semi-windproof growing areas with which we can put in certain things that are affected, such as cabbages, broccoli, and other wind sensitive plants. So it should give us a few more kind of growing conditions. We can control a little bit of that growing climate just for those particular plants. So definitely worthwhile. There's a lot of work. We've not finished yet. We've got some more digging out to do here, which will be done over the next few days. Again, nothing's getting planted out yet. We are going to start sowing some beans, but they're going to be inside for the next few weeks. So so we've got plenty of time to get the beds done. But that's not all we did. So I'll take you over to the next part of week one's progress. So we've got our first proper raised bed in. We managed to get a couple of scaffolding boards. Pretty standard fare for raised beds. Certainly not worth going through a tutorial how to nail two pieces of wood together. But yeah, so we've got some compost in there at the moment. It does need filling up some more, so I'm thinking another 1, 2, probably 3 bags of compost in there just to lift that up. But this is going to be our home for our kelvedons, our peas. We're going to put some white icicle radishes in here as well, I think, and because they will sit well together in the bed. But yeah, I think that's going to be our first bay on this one. I've decided to go with raised beds for the peas and things like that, just because of it's a very wildlife heavy area around here. So I think a lot of this is going to have to be put in cages. So yeah, I noticed this morning we had 5 or 6 wood pigeons in and around the garden, so they will strip everything. So yes, we'll have to make this place like Fort Knox. But yeah, so first raised bed is in. It's a good sized one as well. We should be able to get a lot of peas out of here. And as I say, we're going to get some radishes in. The radishes will probably go in. I'm keeping an eye on the frost. At the moment, we've got warm temperatures in the day, between 10 and 14 over the next 2 weeks. But the nights are still cold. Last night was 0 degrees. Tonight is 1 degree. So again, it's all in preparation for later on. But yeah, so that was bed 1 that we've done. I'll show you bed 2. Okay, so bed 1, that's going to be for our peas and our radishes. Bed 2, this is going to be for our firestorm runner beans. So because again of the wind, which I keep mentioning, the thinking is actually we'll place these in here. I haven't got any compost to put in here yet, but we're going to place the beans in here, and the walls should allow some good protection as the plants get stronger. By the point that they reach this, and obviously we will have a cane framework up for them to grow up, the plants should be strong enough to deal with the wind. We're going to companion plant this one. So again, we've got the firestorm runner beans in there, and we're going to be putting in some borage blue flowers in and around it. We should help with the pollinators, bring lots of pollinators in. I may even put a little bit of creeping thyme in there, but I've only got it in seed, so how quick it will come from seed to being a useful plant, we will see. I've never grown creeping thyme before, so this will be a new one. But creeping thyme, it's got some good kind of properties. It should keep some of the bugs off. So borage blue, creeping thyme. Yeah, this is bed 2 for the firestorm runner beans. Okay, so I mentioned in episode 1 that I've got a way that I kind of stop the wigwams that I built from blowing over, and it's this bottle of water. So this is really simple, but essentially this is going to be hit by the wind. There's going to be a lot of wind coming over here, and as it's windy today, so it's going to be hit. When it gets plants on it, that's kind of a lot of surface area the wind's going to hit, and it's going to want to push it over. So what you need is a counterbalance which will stop that effect from being so severe. This is stolen loose loosely from how they do this in skyscrapers. So they have these like sort of mass dampeners inside of skyscrapers. So when a skyscraper moves like that, the mass dampener sort of equalizes that movement, and it acts as a bit of a sort of center of gravity. It lowers that center of gravity. So this is pretty much the same. I'll talk it through it quickly, but it's pretty straightforward. So this is suspended on a piece of wire from the peak of the wigwam. The weight itself, there is a little bit of science to this. So the weight itself needs to be between 10 and sort of 15-18% of the total mass of the structure. So that would be the weight of your canes and the weight of the plants. There are a few factors to note here, but mainly as long as you go with that kind of rule, you won't go wrong. So I'm factoring on each plant's going to weigh hopefully somewhere in the region of 2.5 kilos each. So it's kind of going to be 10 kilos, 4 plants on there. This is maybe half a kilo or so, and then allowing for a bit more room. So we've gone with this bottle. So 2 litres is 2 kilograms. Obviously a kilogram is 1 litre. So yeah, so this will be a 2 kilo weight once full. Key things to note: don't overfill it too early. So if I fill this in now, when the wind blows against it, and we can see it's moving in the wind, as the wind moves it, it's going to destabilise this because this will be too heavy. If this was to swing out here with 2 kilos of weight, it's going to move that centre of balance for this outside of the structure and then tip it over. So you need it to be, as I say, that 10-15% weight of current structure. This has got a third of a litre in there, so it's roughly about 300 grams. I wouldn't normally build this so early. This is just for demonstration purposes, and I'm going to build a couple more over the next couple of weeks. But that's essentially how it works. So as the plants grow, as the weight of the structure increases, we'll add more water into this bottle, and it will stop the structure hopefully blowing over. This is tested in much lower wind here. So yeah, we will see what's what. It would be common if it blew over right now, but it's holding firm. So it should be good. It's been up for like a week now. We've had 3 or 4 heavy wind days, so it's doing all right. But yeah, that's just a quick way. If you do want to do something like this, if it's not something that you've done before, just a couple of tips on this one. The weight wants to be just over kind of half the distance, and that's the bottom of the weight. So the bottom of the bottle, that's the bottom of the weight. It wants to be over kind of nearing 2/3 of the way down the structure. So this structure is 2 meters at the top, and the bottom of this weight is sat at about 1.4 meters ish from that peak. So don't have it, if you have it too high, again the weight will be too high, it raises the center of balance, and it will throw it over. If it's too low, it kind of doesn't have any effect. So somewhere around that kind of 2/3 is perfect, but that will ensure your wigwams don't blow over. So we're going to plant up our beans now. Now there's no great secret when it comes to how I plant beans. This is a method that many people use, there's nothing innovative here, but it's simply cardboard toilet roll holders and compost, and that is simply it. So we're planting up our cobra beans at the moment, and it really is as simple as filling these tubes up to about 2 inches from the top. Simply taking a bean, I've already filled 5 of these out already, dropping a bean in there, kind of just pushing it slightly into the compost, and this is just normal compost mix in here. I don't put any perlite in or anything like that, never have done it. It works off of normal compost, some people do. And then simply once the beans are in, it is getting windy, so I'm just going to put these in here. Once these are in, it is a simple case of just topping that top 2 inches of soil up. I've got just some seed compost here, just topping that up and giving it a little bit of a press down, just to make sure they're covered. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop these onto a warm windowsill inside, and we're going to start to keep these moist. We don't want them too wet, but they need to be moist. and we're just going to get these growing, and they will sit in there until we've got about 4-5 inches of growth. So that's the general aim, and then we'll sort of move on to hardening them off when it gets closer to probably April time. But yeah, so that is the plan. So I've already planted up 12 Firestorm beans, and then we've got these 6 which will go with another 6 Cobra that are already planted up, so they're going to sit in the windowsill and just grow. But yeah, so we've got a dozen of each types of runner beans ready for hopefully planting out in about 5 weeks time, I think is the aim. So I just had a thought, and this thought actually came to me yesterday, and I plan to do a video on it later on in the year, but I'm going to kind of do it now for prosperity. As a reminder myself to do the video later on in the year, but if I forget to do it, then I've got it down on record. When it comes to seeds, now this year obviously I bought all my seeds from Premier Seeds Direct, and they are a great company, but there is nothing like homegrown seeds, and there's a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, it's free, so allowing a few plants to go. So take your onions, for example, allowing them to go to seed. You sacrifice the onion, but you get a lot of seeds for that. But there's a couple of benefits to this which I think go a little bit underlooked. And the major one is the fact that they are your seeds. So the cost is one, that's the kind of the second point, I suppose, of the benefits I was going to come to. But the first one is that these seeds have come off of plants that have grown up in your soil, in your climate, in your area, wherever you are in the world. Now there's a benefit to that. When we buy a packet of seeds, they've been grown in location X, wherever that may be. And so those seeds have grown in a specific type of soil, on a specific type of plant, in a specific temperature, weather, etc., etc. So those seeds are kind of genetically engineered in a way for that location and that climate. So what you want to do is you want to look at the strongest plants that you get through the growing season. You want to identify them quite early, and you need to make the decision to not take the fruit, take them out of the ground, whatever it is, whatever vegetable or plant we're talking about. But you have to make that decision to not harvest them, but harvest the seeds when they come. And the reason for that is that plant has grown strong in your soil, in your weather, your climate, your temperatures, etc., etc. And so there will be a strength within that for those seeds. So it's really worth bearing in mind. So yeah, little tip there on collecting seeds and why it's important. It's not just seeds either, it's worth for bulbs as well. So again, you know, these daffodils which are coming through, you know, these have been here for however many generations. These have not been planted, these just grow. I get bulbs everywhere, snowdrops and yeah, all sorts of things. But again, this stuff has grown for X amount of generations in this ground, in this soil, in this location. So it will have a genetic predisposition to do well here. It's standard kind of natural selection. So whether it's bulbs or seeds, these are really, really important to keep them, because every time you take your strongest plants and you take the seeds from them, and then you grow the next generation of that plant from those seeds, again, you identify the strongest one, and then eventually you'll end up in a position where you have a really, really good seed store, but it's built for your climate and your environment, and it's really, really powerful. And as much as, you know, we can buy quality seeds and everything else, you just have to remember that those seeds have been brought up in a location that isn't your location, under conditions that aren't your conditions. So again, it's a really, really really great kind of thing to consider. But yeah, keen to hear your thoughts. Do people do this already? Maybe this is a common thing. I'm sure some people do, you know, but yeah, I'd be curious to hear, do people get their own seeds, or do we buy them fresh every year? So that is episode 2 on the channel, done and dusted. We've got our wigwam up, we've planted some of the beans, so that's that's the first sow of the year. Like I said, we're going to do some more sowing this week. Whether I might do them as a separate episode or throw them up as a short. I don't know. I need to work out the best way to put videos out and what people's preferences are. I like both. I like long videos. I like to see the adventures that people are going on in their gardens. So that's maybe what we'll do, but I'll play it by ear. If people have ideas, things they like, things that they don't like that we're doing in the garden, then please do tell me. I'd rather fix it now than not fix it in the future. But yeah, so I am open to ideas. But it is a lovely day in North Yorkshire. Those storm clouds that are coming just over the hills are inbound. So yeah, so I'm going to get everything put away before they hit. I might do a little bit of digging before the day is done. All progress is good progress at the moment. So yeah. But yeah, so as always, thank you for joining. Like and subscribe. I need to get used to saying that. And I'll catch you all in the next one.
Rhubarb and a bag of sugar down the old allotment road. Dad's weathered hands did toil. The days were long but oh so slow. He'd hum a tune of yesteryears. Skies neither black nor blue. Memories grow in furrowed rows of sorrow and the fear.